All right, tonight we want to have a conversation around the real estate business. We're focusing on how to determine the right value for properties, especially in the face of challenges like flooding, so many things that happens, especially during the rainy season. And of course, again, demolition that happens, within real estate, what's it called, estates, right? So, of course, you know that Lagos known for its vibrant economy and rapid urbanization also grapples with seasonal flooding that can significantly impact property values as the rainy season approaches, and as property demolition is ongoing, it's on the rise. Prospective buyers and sellers alike must navigate this dynamic landscape with caution. So tonight we're asking, what is the appropriate pricing when it comes to real estate? And joining us to have this conversation is a real estate mogul, the CEO of Deal Clinchers Realtor Limited, and the chairman of Redan Ogun State chapter, Dr. Adeyemi Adeniyi, and he's joined us live in studio. Thank you so much, Doc, for being with us.
It's such a great pleasure for me to be here, ma. Thank you so much, ma.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. You be calling me ma, like say, you know all this that all this, all these that want to form humble, but they're not humble. But thank you so much. I buzzed him. I said, this matter, we have to talk about it. Because me, I have a personal issue with real estate people. Like, it's just so sometimes, okay, we're talking about flooding right now, maybe in, around the Lekki axis, for instance. And like literally, when I come out of my house, I'm in front of a canoe. Right? I'm in front of a river. When you now go, you want to buy a property, the kind of money they call. I said, do you understand what comes to the costing of why a property is put at a certain price? I don't think you real estate people in this Nigeria.
I actually think they're the ones causing all this problem.
I'm telling you.
Yes.
I think I have a personal issue with real estate people.
So tell us why it is like that.
So tell me, like, how? So what makes pricing, what makes costing in real estate in this country?
Okay. Let me first appreciate you for giving me the honor to be here. I must say that seriously, a lot of things contribute to pricing, and before it will come to the stage where you get a particular property at a certain price, maybe a high price. Definitely there is a lot of investment that has gone into that particular property, e.g. infrastructure development. So one of the things that contributes immensely to price hike is the presence of infrastructure. Now, if you look, for instance, look at it, the difference between Oworoshoki in Bariga and Ikoyi Parkview is just separated by water. But why will Oworo sell for about 20-30 million naira per plot, and a Parkview will be going for about 400 to 500 million? The difference is infrastructure. Because, yes. Because
continue. I want you to learn. Hey, I planned for you this evening. Go ahead. The difference is infrastructure.
So, because that's actually the bloodline of real estate, infrastructure.
So please,
okay.
Dr. Adeyemi, tell me which infrastructure do you have in Parkview?
Okay, so it may not mean so much to you.
Yes.
But to an average estate developer, what sells you out from one particular estate to another, even on the same streets, is the infrastructure development within that place. I'll give you another example. There is an estate in Oregun in Ikeja. On that same stretch of Kudrat Abiola Way, there are places that are selling for about 100 million for a unit of duplex. And on the same streets where the estate is located, these particular estates will go for as much as 250 million. The difference is the infrastructure. When I talk about infrastructure, the road, the electricity, security, water, and so on and so forth. What we have in Lekki that you are complaining about, that made you to have this beef and this personal arrangement for me and the rest of it, is simply because of what human has cost. when you talk about human error, human factors, we are the ones that litter places everywhere. Yes, there is absence of drainage, proper drainage system in many places, but even where it is present, there's a lot of clogging of these drainages caused by human factor. So the government has done our own parts. It is left for us to manage and
It's
maintain.
all right. We'll come back to you. Glory, let me come to you. I'll come to Norma.
Since you decided to start calling us ma, so
This is a setup.
with all the infrastructure and everything you were saying, which leads to the high cost, or you said it's okay since there's infrastructure.
Okay.
As a business person, because if you go around Ikoyi, all these places, you find so many infrastructurally sound real estates, you know, which are unoccupied. Is it a wise decision, like making putting all of this together, making it like very high and making it difficult, the affordability quite difficult? Do you think like it's a strategic business decision, knowing that some of these are actually placed out for rent or maybe for sale?
Okay.
What do you think about that?
To a very large extent, I would say that there are a lot of things that contribute, there are a lot of factors that makes some area to have empty houses. Now, we have a lot of property speculators in the markets. Those are the people that would buy into property about the time it's been sold for off-plan, or some people may have some businesses done and they have some loose cash. Rather than keep it in the bank, they just go buy. And because of the way some quote and unquote house users will handle
Mismanage
the properties, some of those places you see empty today used to have people living in there. But the moment the owners see what they are doing with their houses, especially there are some class of or races of people who are not Nigerians, that once you have them in a property, one person you actually give the house to call another one, another one, another one. I mean, there was a time I gave a house for them to give me a tenant in it, and they told me they just got, I mean, I won't mention the particular country. These nationals, these foreign nationals are so much in that particular estate. And they said they got it. They're going to pay almost like 5 years rent. And it was so juicy. But I turned it down. Why? Because at the end of the day, all you have collected from them, you would use to renovate the house all over again. So in some cases, some homeowners would tell you, I'd rather leave it empty if I don't have anything to do there. Now, when you now talk about, we have a lot of people who don't have a place to stay, and we have houses that are empty. Now, this now comes to the place of human face. Now, when I was a tenant at a time, I met someone who told me all he would do for me was to take 2 years' rent. And I told him, sir, you can't take 2 years' rent from me because the law says you should do 1 year, right? And he told me, go back and study your law again, that this law forbids some areas, it's not covering some areas. When you talk about premium properties, forget. Now you waka go there. If you no get money, no enter. So there are places that once your rent expires, pack your load and go if you can't renew.
Okay, no, let me bring in Norma. Then I know you want to come back. Norma, come in, oh. Hey, I'm ready for you. Go ahead.
Help me. Okay.
Adeyemi, thank you for shedding light so far. So we're talking about overpricing, right? And when we say overpriced assets, well, overpriced means that something is costing more than it's worth. And I share Ua's sentiments when she says that you go to certain properties and the value that they want to command. Real estate is actually my first degree. A lot of people don't know that. So, but being in real estate at the time, that's when I understood certain things, because you're having conversations with certain landlords and they tell you that they want to command certain value for their property, and even you as a real estate agent, you know that this property is not worth that, right? So we're talking about overpricing. And we also see this being encouraged by real estate agents, right? Overpricing the worth of a property, giving value that it doesn't actually command. So maybe in terms of location, yes, it's in a highbrow area, but the property, the structure itself has no value that it's offering, and yet people want to be able to command that.
Okay.
In that regard, would you say real estate agents like yourself are being
He is not the agent, too. He's the owner of the agency itself.
are you saying that they are contributing to the problem of overpricing within the Nigerian environment, or in the industry at large?
Okay, let me just first say that I didn't know that you are more than two. It's true that you prepared for me. So I'll come this way, that a lot of these challenges being experienced also, we can't take out the place of the agents away from it. Because the higher the price, the higher their commission. In some cases, there are landlords that have said, oh, this house, I'm taking 5 million naira per annum from it, for instance. And the agent is saying,
I can get it for 7 million for you.
7. It's now, your friends are taking, all around, your neighbors are taking 10 million, 8 million. And the landlord say, oh, anyway, if you can get me just 5 million, I am okay. If you get anything other than that, it's yours. So some seem to mark it up. And if the regulations we have, if we actually enforce it, then those can be caught. Now, we won't take out the fact that these things happen, and some of them may be as a result of probably title. Title makes this pricing to go up. Like you see a place where it has probably a certificate of occupancy, and I mean, whether individual or global certificate of occupancy that covers an entire estate, and the next one doesn't have. I mean, so to that extent, so
because
it commands value. Property. It's safer. All right. So, and when you talk about the place of the agents, even if the landlord is saying, okay, give me 5 million, the guy is saying, 10% of 5 million is 500,000. If I'm able to get for 7 million naira, then 10% will attract more. That's 700K. So these are some of the challenges. However, when you look at the upgrade of a particular house, the finishing, the detailing, in the same neighborhood, it may be higher than the other. Like a neighbor of mine, in our own house, everywhere is marbled, Italian marble, from top to down, and Versace everywhere. Now, in the same estate where someone will give a house for, of course, these things doesn't happen in most of the developed countries, the Western world, because there's regulation.
Everything is similar.
It's almost similar. So when you say this house is selling for $100,000, you have, even if there will be discrepancy, it's not going to be obvious. But in Nigeria, I can determine my prices. Why? Because some of those infrastructures, I have to be the one to put them in place.
Okay, you know what? Let's go on a very, very short break. We'll be right back. I have more questions. Stay with us. All right, thanks for staying with us. If you just tuned in, please, if you have a problem getting property in East Lagos, this is the person you should follow. Please let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-8663. You can also call us if you'd like to join the conversation, 07025007749. All right, so the tier, I love everything you said, but I don't think you've ever looked for a house in this Lagos. Because if I look for house in this, like literally, there was a perfect. So when I was looking for this building, right, for the office space, I went to a particular property. This property was completely run down. It was completely run down. So it's like, so my father is a builder. So it's like, I'm going to strip the entire building, do the entire plumbing, do the entire electricals. And I was telling this guy, reduce the price so that if I am spending this money, let me know that, you know, he says no. Like you see completely run down. They want you to upgrade the property.
Correct.
At the same time, you know, they're not even, there's no consideration. You see, the fact that there are no regulations, it makes it really, really sad for me. In Abuja, where I had a friend that lives in an estate, she said a senator just came, bought one full line. You know these people that did not work hard for their money. I don't know the name of the senator, but you did not work hard for your money. He bought a full street of properties. Okay. The next thing, based on the price that he bought, the prices were like maybe like 10 million lower. Okay. But he came and bought everything and bought at a higher price. Automatically, without lifting a finger, the prices of all the other properties had to go up. It does not make any sense to me.
To you.
Because, no, it does not make sense. It makes sense to you people that are making the money. That's why I will resign now and come and join you. You know? So, that Abuja one. So, I don't remember that I saw a video online where one guy went on the streets of Abuja, was video, I'm sure you saw that video, empty houses. Why? Because most of those people, they don't work hard for their money. I agree with you that some of them will say, please don't rent my property to people that will run it down. But a lot of these properties that Glory is referring to, those people, you understand, they did not work hard for that money. Because if you worked hard for the money, you would make sure that you find and bring down the cost. At least let it be. You know, because when you leave a property without being occupied, it also, it runs down the property in itself.
Correct.
So help me to make it make sense. How somebody comes and buys the property, like the whole street, and all of a sudden you now change the price. Doesn't make any sense to me.
What's it to be?
Yes. You said, "Oh, getting what? Did you turn on the woman?" Let me say that, in all honesty, there are regulations. What we lack is enforcement. The government is doing a bit. But of course, those who set out the laws, they are not the ones to enforce it. There are other ministries or parastatals that should seek to the enforcement of those laws, right? Now, there's something they call something that has to do with the environment. That is, the valuation of a property is in accordance with the neighborhood. What makes a man who goes to a VI and sees a bungalow sitting on a 500 square meter and is being called about $1 billion, 800 million and the likes, and the same kind of bungalow you would see in another developing area, probably in Ogun State, for instance, and is going for about maybe 2 million or 5 million naira. Now you are saying, well, it's the same bungalow. No, it's a location. And one of the things that determines the pricing is what goes on in the neighborhood of your property is what gives it true value.
Like the flooding. That's what's giving it the true value.
No, it's
now you had that. Now you had that one. And the name also, you know, so what I'm saying? Lekki.
In a banana island.
Banana.
I listened to, I mean, one of the ladies of your view a few days ago when she was saying that, she loves her mainland simply because all the things they go through on the island, you hardly experience it on the mainland because of the planning that goes into a lot of, I mean, the Ikoyi part of mainland. Let me use that word. There's a lot of infrastructure. When it rains, you know, under a few minutes, the roads are free and all of that. But, okay, let's not go there. The real thing is this. Whatever happens in the neighborhood of a certain property, when I talk about what happens, I'm talking about development that comes to play around, is what determines the true value of a certain property inside the middle. Whether you are doing just a 3-bedroom bungalow standalone that is sitting around mansions, you attract a similar value. Now, so the man who bought Stretch and people started increasing their prices, they are increasing because of what is happening in that neighborhood. So it must command some more value. Now, it is for the man who now bought it. When you now talk about the use, what he intends to use it for, that's something personal to now him. He may decide to lock it up because it's his money. Now, you said somebody may not have worked hard for the money. I don't encourage that. It's even better to even put people who are not going to pay there than to have it locked up. But some people might not be knowledgeable enough to say, oh, if I leave this property here vacant, it's going to be depreciating, and I need somebody to just be cleaning it. In some of our houses in our hometown, you just put people there, let them not pay, let them just be cleaning everywhere, the premises, the inside, and all of that, just to keep the house sane, alive. So, but it depends on our background. It depends on our feeling for fellow humanity that determines many of those things. Like I said, it's personal. So I can't force it. But in all honesty, some guys, you see them, they are security men in those houses, and they find a way around it to open the houses, and they're using those houses for shortlet. Yeah. And when the guy says he's coming home,
they clear everybody.
Everybody back out.
Glory.
Let's talk about land grabbing and, all the land disputes and all of that. I don't know. One time, one of my siblings told me, if you want to buy land, don't buy in Lagos. So I don't know who told them I have money. They're already talking about land. But anyways.
They are rich now.
Amen. We've seen cases, countless cases where there's just always land dispute. It's almost as if all the land in Lagos has been bought over, if not by an individual, by companies and reselling. How do we avoid those sort of issues,
What's the best approach actually to, so if you want to go into, like today now, I want to buy a property.
Okay.
Right? How do you approach it so that you don't fall victim of any of all of those things?
Okay. So what I would say is this, as it were right now, somebody said if you don't have mentors, you have tormentors. There are some of us that have spent quite a number of years in the industry, and we have seen a few things. I think it's high time to ask questions, get consultants, seek advice, so that you don't fall into the same thing some people are falling into. By the grace of God, as the chairman of Real Estate Developers Association of Nigeria, Ogun State Chapter, we're one as a body, whether Lagos, Ogun, all the states across Nigeria. We hold meetings. We talk about, in fact, I mean, the way Redan is structured now with our new leadership, it's like one of the most powerful bodies. Why? It's because just one mistake from a developer can destroy 100 people and kill them in just one mistake.
True.
And I mean, if there's a mistake in an hospital, it may just affect just 1 or 2 people. So you can see how sensitive our sector is.
Yes.
So we can't afford to play careless. Now, from the feeders we are getting, we have a lot of people who have had a fair share of some of these challenges. Maybe you missed your due diligence in a place, you didn't get it right. We can tell you, I made a mistake here, but you can avoid it. Because the truth is this, there's a master plan. And if the government is saying, we want to revert to the original master plan, like it happened in Abuja during the days of
Erufai, yes.
You may not be notified. I may not be notified. In fact, the notices may come, but it may not get to where we will hear it, right? And if the government reverts to the original master plan,
or anything that is illegal,
yes,
is going.
So when you talk, there's a project our company was supposed to engage in somewhere in Ikoyi, and by the time they came to inspect, we brought in regulatory authorities to come inspect before we sign, and that's part of our due diligence because of the experiences gotten over the years. And by the time they looked around, they saw one high tension, not too far away. They said, before you can build these heights, we have to be able to move away so number of meters from high tension. And this high tension was far, but they have a stipulated number of meters that you must go away from. If we didn't bring them, somebody who is in a hurry will build that much. And God forbid, if what they want to achieve is this, if your building is standing, if it falls, it shouldn't fall on a high tension. So if you go 100 floors, if it's not going to fall on that,
then
you are fine.
good.
So, and that's past. Looked around again, saw very close gully or a big drainage, a massive drainage. Said, if there's high current of water, if it flows and it overflows its bounds, it may come to this place. These are things that are in the law, but many of us may not want to keep to it because those who should enforce it, in some way, some of them, we may make them compromise, right? And it's not that the law is not there. They are doing everything possible. The other day I was with the GM of one of the regulatory bodies. He explained everything to us. He said, see, it's you people. If you will comply, we are doing our jobs. How many can we see? Who is the person blocking those who are building? Somebody is building a house, and from the window of your house, you can give somebody something in the next building. And it's that close. Now, we should not think only money. We should think about humanity. That's the bottom line of this, love for each other.
Absolutely.
So in all honesty, the government is trying, but our population is huge. I was explaining to one of my...
That's why they have to bring down prices of houses in Ikoyi, Lekki.
I'll give you you have your point. It's true.
Enough.
It's true. So if the government would match up or measure up in the place of building more houses, it's going to help a great deal. Because the government is trying, but our population is increasing all the time. I told one of my proteges in the US when I was training him today online, and I told him, I said, I visited Tanzania and I saw the real estate markets. The landmarks of Tanzania and Nigeria is almost the same. But while Nigeria is about 230 million in population, Tanzania is about 63. That's why one man will build on about 10,000 square meters in Tanzania because there's enough land. And so he can plant in his compound and also be rearing animals in the same compound. And you see them, they live so old because there's fresh air.
Okay, Norma, let me come to you for your final question.
I wasn't sure there was going to be any time left for me there, but Adeyemi, I wanted to just chip in this final question with regards to the regulatory measures and the policies. You said, countless times that government is doing quite a lot and all, but the people are not feeling what they're doing, right? So for you to be doing something, people need to see that you're doing something. So what are other, are there any other ways that they can actually do things? Because if people knew information, the truth of it is that people don't have as much information as they should have regards pricing. We've talked about issues about land grabbing. We've talked about how much information is being put out there for people to know that these are things that need, or these are places that they need to go. For example, with regards to traffic, let's use traffic. You have bodies that they say, if you hear or see something, call this number or do this or do that. Are there things like that they can actually put in place, or information that, we're in the days of social media, right? We can have, is there a way that we can have information being pushed out there to continue to enlighten people about this and what they can do in situations where even they feel that their pricing is not, the pricing of an area, for example, is not in congruence with the actual structure that is that places you could report these things to, because human beings,
okay. They ask too much, but try to attempt to answer it. Nigeria,
Madam Loma. The thing is, recently, we saw that part of the things we want to do with the government as a body called Real Estate Developers Association is the place of enlightenment. We meet with them, they give us information, we are closer to the people. We want to tell them this is what all of the regulatory agencies are giving this information, but it's not getting to the grassroots. But we as a body, we are being invited, we are being briefed. In fact, in my state, in Ogun State, the other day I was with the Commissioner for Fiscal Planning, and they handed over gazettes for us to know that, oh, these are things you should know and educate people about. For example, in Lagos State, you need CFO, you need or gazette to be able to apply for your building permit in many areas to build. In Ogun State is saying, no, you don't need CFO. Just get, as an estate, just get a layout, building layout approval. Once you have it stamped, you can go and start building. I didn't know before.
Because you were using your Lagos
I was using
knowledge.
my Lagos sense for that place. But the moment they gave me the gazette, means it's already written. And so all these things comes to information, and now getting to work with different regulatory bodies like Redan to pass those information. And the government is engaging us more than before.
Awesome. So Redan now looks like the body that would control a lot of things and help us have sanity within your industry.
Seriously.
Because you say this in our industry, eh? Some people na koboko now. I want to use to chase them. Someone says Terry Yima or something says an insightful session. Someone says great. Dr. Adeyemi, #1 bishop of real estate. It's okay. I told you people that the person you want to look, if you have any problem with real estate, just look for him. Your problem will be solved. We always love to hear you, sir.
Thank you.
Now, if you had one final thing to say to somebody right now that is looking to buy a property,
Yes, ma'am.
right? What would be your counsel to that person? I know you've mentioned in pockets a bit, but like you're speaking to that person.
Yes, ma'am.
This is what I have. This is the amount I have. What would be your counsel? Because right now, in all honesty, buying a property in Nigeria right now is a lot, you know,
Yes,
especially Lagos, Abuja, right? Because those are prime areas, right?
Yes.
So what would be your counsel to that person?
So I would say that to that person trying to make such move, listening or watching right now, one of the first things I'll tell you to do is the money you're trying to save, I want you to spend part of it to do your full due diligence. And that will be you engaging a lawyer, a sound lawyer. I'm not talking about charge and bail, no. A sound lawyer who is a property lawyer, who would go the extra mile to go and do the due diligence and get to the point of looking at the master plan, if they have access to it, to be able to know what is going to happen in this area. There might be houses there, but that doesn't mean that it has conformed with the original master plan. Now, talk about zoning also. There are some places that are zoned for a particular thing, but there are some other things you see there. By the time the government is going to conform to the original master plan, it's going to affect. So do your due diligence. And not just that. Today, in the course of the class, I told my students, I said, another thing I want you to do is make sure that you bring in your street sense into this. You want to buy a property? Visit the area. Sit down with the abokis and ask questions about what you want to buy. There might be some issues. There might be some notices that the government has put there that they've cleaned away. Go and ask questions. Where they are selling a bottle of water for 200 naira, you can pay them 1,000 naira. You will be getting free information.
Wow, thank you so much, Dr. Adeyemi. I knew this was going to be fun. You know, see, this is why I chased you. We're going to chase you more. But I think we're going to keep having this conversation because I feel like, you know, a lot of things that have happened within Lagos State, it's kind of like giving people weariness, especially within Lagos.
Yeah.
It's almost like the things that are happening is demarketing Lagos. But I believe with what you've said, you know, truth be told, if we really check master plans and all of those things, it then helps us to have an understanding.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, so it's not looking like it's an attack from the government or anything.
At all.
I get you. We're going to keep bringing you back. Say
Amen.
yes.
Amen. Pastor, you can say it again.
But thank you. I mean, it was such a short notice, but you were able to make out time to
Thank you,
come
man.
speak with us. I mean, you were just the perfect person to have this conversation
Thank you,
with.
man.
Even though you dodged all my bullets. I'll bring bombs next time. Thank you so much.
It's a
Thank you,
privilege for
Norma.
me to be
Thank
here.
you, Glory. Now, before we go, remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel Like, share, interact, and share the links, to families and friends to watch. If you missed our quote for today, hear it too. People like Dr. Adeyemi say 90% of all millionaires become so through owning real estate.
Hallelujah.
We'll see you guys on Monday as we bring another great conversation to your screen.